So I've been using these JBL Live Pro tools for about 6 months, maybe a little longer than that, and to be very honest, these have grown on me a little more than when they were new, and I did spend a lot of time with them for my review. More on a sound front, because JBL has used a very interesting tuning with this, and it's not big and boisterous. It's sort of it is kind of composed, and it knows what it's doing. It feels very comfortable in its own skin. But before I talk about how these sound, let's jump into how this is held up on a build front. Well, JBL has chosen sort of a, well, it does look like a matte finish, but this is kind of a rubbery finish. It's got a very nice sort of soft, grippy feel. So this isn't going to fall out of your hand anytime soon. It's fairly compact and comfortable within the hand. Now, if you do happen to drop this, this will definitely show some sort of scratches and scuffs if it falls on a rough surface, especially. And of course, you do get your USB-C charging over here, and it does also have wireless charging, so you can just place it on a mat or a phone that has reverse charge and you're good to go. One thing I've always liked is the way these three lights in front work, because especially when you're charging them, they sort of just, they do this sort of movement thing which looks quite cool, and it does it much slower. And overall, like, even the small details over here, like there's a little rubber lip over here to help dampen the sound when you close it, so it's not a slam. It's a nice soft clasping sound, and this also does have JBL Live Pro 2 written on it, and it looks quite neat that way. So overall, on a build front, the case is held up fairly well, and the earphones themselves are also a very nice looking set of earphones. In fact, you'll see the little notification light on the inside. That's when it's looking to connect. It would have connected to my phone right now. And of course, the outside of the stem is a chrome finish, which is quite different to what other people are doing, and it does have a tiny little grill over here at the bottom to protect the mic from any dust, dirt or debris. And on a comfort front, I found these quite comfortable. They use some sort of I think it's a medical grade sort of silicone gel tip, because it's very comfortable in the ear. I've not had any comfort issues with this, even listening to this for about 2.5 or 3 hours straight. It's quite comfortable overall on a build front. So I'd say on a build front, it's good to go, as well as on a comfort front. Coming to its features, it's got everything you want really. It does come with wireless charging, like I mentioned, and it comes with Bluetooth version 5.2 now. Sure, it's not the latest 5.3, but honestly, everything after 5.0 has been pretty stable. I've not had issues with this in connectivity. Maybe if I go maybe 2 walls over where you have that barrier, it will start cutting, which is expected, or if you go too far away from your transmitting device. Otherwise, it's been pretty solid, but most of its features are within its app. So let me quickly show you what its app is all about. Now, when you do go into the app, you do have all the battery levels of your earphones and your case. The case will refresh when you put both earphones in to close that circuit. And then you do get your ambient control. So in fact, let me put these on, otherwise it doesn't let you go into the ANC mode. So it's in ANC mode right now. And you can go to the custom ANC option, where you have adaptive ANC, leakage compensation, ear canal compensation, and you can do a ear canal test as well, which is quite cool. Then of course you do have ambient aware, and you can control the intensity of how much of the outside comes in, which is quite cool. But not every JBL product has this, but since this is on the premium side, it does have this. And of course, it does have the talk through mode as well, which is convenient if you do want to converse with somebody. Now, when talk through mode is on, your media volume comes down, and even if you increase and reduce your volume, it is not affected. The volume will not change the volume of your media, because talk through's priority is to let you converse with somebody. So you'll have to move back onto ambient aware or ANC mode. So anyway, moving on to the other features it has. Let me just take these off. It has the equalizer mode, so you can play around with the EQs. You can also make a custom one, and this is pretty cool because it's a 10-band EQ, which gives you a plus minus 5 dB gain. So you can get a lot of control with this manual EQ as well. And then you can head on over to the gesture modes. This is the one place where I have had a bit of a gripe with these earphones, because your left one, my left bud is set to ambient sound control, because I like to toggle between the ambient sound control. And then you can answer and end your phone calls. Then the right earbud I've set to volume, because it's nice to have volume control. But then I realized when I sort of wanted to pause my media, I couldn't. So one thing you can do is take the earphone out, which will pause it, because it's got the proximity sensor. But in situations where you just want to sort of pause and play with your finger, you're locked into whatever you've chosen. So in this case, I'm locked into volume control and voice assistant. So you have to choose in that case playback and voice assistant. So then you can do the playback, but then you don't have the volume control. So you need to figure out what you prefer having. To me, it's the volume control. And anyway, then moving on to the other stuff, it has voiceover, which is great for whenever you're on phone calls and you want to hear your voice back on feedback. You can control the intensity there as well. Smart audio and video is for audio is for best audio available, best codec, and video is for if you want lower latency for consuming video or gaming. And then autoplay and pause is of course your proximity sensor if you want that on or off. It's nice to have the option to control that. And you do have your left and right sound balance if you do want to play around with your bias, left and right bias. Your voice assistant, you can choose the native or the other ones that are available. Voice prompts in whatever language you want, which is also nice to have. And then you can check your fit. This is a earbud fit test, so it will help you choose the right ear tip size if there is any leakage. And what's nice is it has Find My Buds. This is always a very, very helpful sort of feature to have on any earphones. And then of course you do have a power saving mode, which is nice to have if you want to conserve battery in the long run. And you also do get the support section, which shows you your, if you want to set up your headphones, your user guides, reset to factory settings, and your headphone version, and so on and so forth. So that's your overall features within the app, which is quite extended. It's got a lot of features that you can go through. So anyway, another feature that this does have is active noise cancelling, and I found the adaptive one to work very well. Like I've used some adaptive ANC on other headphones and earphones, and some of them aren't able to really acclimate or get used to the environment very accurately, so I just put them on their maximum ANC mode. But a lot of people aren't used to having things on maximum ANC, so in this case if you put it on its adaptive mode, it adjusts fairly well. I'd say it's pretty quick to understand the amount of noise around you, and it does adjust to that fairly well. Now this does have 3 microphones on each earbud to be able to analyze all those data points and handle the ANC. And those same 3 microphones per earbud, that's a total of 6 microphones, also contribute towards its environmental noise cancelling for whenever you want to make any phone calls. So it'll help isolate your voice over all the noise around you. So if you do want to see how your voice would sound to your recipient in a busy setting while you take a phone call, here's a quick demo to show you how that would function. So I'm calling you from the busy, crowded street where I do all of my call tests from, just to give you a sense of how much these earphones will be battling when it comes to their environmental noise cancelling. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of two-wheelers, four-wheelers, and you might get the occasional pressure on from some trucks going by. There is also some construction work going on over my left shoulder as well. So these do have a lot to battle with. So I have been on the camera microphone all this time, so you can get a sense of the environment around me. And I will switch over to the JBL Live Pro 2 microphones right about now. So overall, these this set of earphones does have 6 microphones. That's 3 microphones per earphone. So that is a lot of data points, which should help it. Now, in fact, when it came to my original in-depth review, I did find that it did pretty well when it came to isolating your voice over all the noise around you. But between then and now, there has been a software update. So yeah, whether or not this has gotten a bit better, I'm not too certain. But you'd be the best judge to figure that out, because you are sitting in the reviewer seat right now. Of course, when it comes to its active noise cancelling on right now, it's doing a pretty good job with all the noise around me. Now, in my in-depth review, I do sort of toggle between the active noise cancelling modes while I'm on a call, just to see if the ANC algorithm gets a little sort of hindered while I play around with the ANC, because those same 6 microphones are helping with the ANC as well as the ANC. So if you do want to see if it does affect it, head on over to my in-depth review to check and see if it does make any sort of difference. So after all this time, this is the demo for the JBL Live Pro 2, and I do hope that it has given you a better understanding for these earphones. And of course, I will see you back at the studio. Moving on to its battery life, well, to be very honest, I don't use this very extensively. I will not go more than 2.5 or 3 hours of usage, because I like to give my ears a bit of a breather, a bit of a break. And usually whenever I've chosen to not put these into the case, these go on for hours even after that. So I think they claim about 10 hours on the earphones alone, and I think that's very possible if you do avoid having ANC on. If you do have ANC on, it will be a little less. And another thing that will influence your overall battery life is the volume you listen to your media in. So if a lot of these tests that a lot of these manufacturers claim is usually done at 50% volume. If you start listening at 55%, 65, 70%, it's bound to deplete those little cells in those earphones. So they are small cells, there's only so much they can do, and expect a certain amount of battery depletion that happens over time. So these are about 6 months old, so I'm pretty sure they won't hold the full 10 hours if they're at 50% volume and listening to the most efficient audio codec. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's just how batteries function. They will deteriorate over time. Then moving on to the most important thing to me, the sound. Well, on a sound front, honestly, the more I've listened to this over time, the more I've grown to like it. I did like how these sounded straight out of the box, no doubt, but it's almost like they've matured over time, or I've grown to like them over time because of the way they handle certain things now. They have not chosen to go big and enormous. They've not chosen to they're not trying to impress you, which is what I like about them. They know what they're doing and they're very comfortable in their own skin. So on an imaging and stage front, on a stage front, they're fairly standard like most other wireless earphones. The bubble exists within your head and most of it is on a horizontal plane, so you can hear all your music in this sphere. On an imaging front, it's surprisingly well detailed when it comes to its highs and mids. It's very easy to pick out details in your music, whether you're listening to anything heavy or lighter, whether it's classical music or hard rock or metal. So the fact that it's able to do so much over so many different genres is quite impressive. But what I do really like about this is that its bass isn't too recessed and it's not too elevated at the same time. It's just about right to keep everybody happy. It is big and heavy enough to enjoy music without eating into the detail and into the mid and high frequency range. So in fact, I've been listening to a lot of Creed over the last few days. I don't know, I've been wanting to listen to them after a long time, and I've genuinely been enjoying their music. So it's there are very few earphones that make me want to go to certain kinds of music or genres and really enjoy it, but these have brought a smile to my face. I've genuinely enjoyed listening to their albums over the last few days with this, and just generally overall on the sound front, it's a very enjoyable set of earphones. And the thing is, if you're not even happy with how it sounds out of the box, the drivers are more than capable enough to handle the presets that JBL has included within the app. So the few presets that you get, there are about 5 presets, so you can play around with that. But more than anything, you can play around with a manual EQ. And in fact, I've got a video sort of walking you through how to tune an EQ manually. So I'll link that up here, or I'll leave it down in the description below. But you can really fine tune these to genuinely enjoy them overall with most genres of music. So would I recommend this after all this time? Well, honestly speaking, considering how it's held up on a build front and how it's grown on me even more on a sound front, I'd say definitely yes. In fact, most earphones that I do long-term reviews on, it's just sort of a continuation of how I felt in the in-depth review. I do still feel that way, but I've sort of, these earphones have kind of grown, they've gotten a personality over time, which a lot of earphones don't do. So the fact that I've gotten attached to this on that level means I think a lot of people will actually like these earphones over time. A lot of earphones usually don't impress straight out of the box because mechanically everything is still new, it's still tight, it's not been run in, it's not moved. I think that's what's happened here. After it's been used for some time, it's opened up and come into its own. So I definitely recommend these earphones right now, and in fact I think they're going for a very good deal. So speaking about pricing, right now at the time of recording this video, the JBL Live Pro 2 does have a maximum retail price of 16,999 rupees, which is a bit on the higher side, but you can make these yours for just 9,498 rupees. So the fact that you can make it yours for that much of a discount, for that much, the cost that it is, I'd say it's super value for money. And these are long-term earphones. In fact, to be very honest with you, I have had a few comments about some JBL products giving some issues where people have to take them to the service center to get replacements. But that's usually for the more budget stuff. By budget stuff, I mean things that sit in the 6,000 range. I haven't heard any complaints about the JBL Live Pro 2, and that's just a testament to how well it's made and how well it's built. It's not really going to give you any problems. So if you have the budget and you want a trouble-free set of earphones, the JBL Live Pro 2 is the set of earphones to go for. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and I do hope that I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning into Paul's POV for some sound advice.